From one ER about the other. Listen up, you're at an ira time in your life. Right now, you listen to Avril. Let the truth be known.
In the politics area, you know, she have it.
Never had a boring moment in my life.
She's the voice of the Caribbean.
Back as I remember, I was never alone. Queen Avril is on the throne. No more feeling lonely. Every rules the air, you know. Every day is like an Avril day.
Pleasant good evening, Avril. And I'm hearing a feedback. Let me see. Okay. I think there two things open. Benny. Okay. Okay, I will be with you shortly. Our congressman will be joining us shortly, but tonight, before I do that, I think I just have to do one thing.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Sing chorus of angels, singing exhortation. Oh, sing, oh, ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God, glory in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him.
We're going to do but our congressman, Honorable Ritchie Torres. Let me see if we can have.
Do you see me or hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? You
How
can
are
see
you?
me and hear me.
I can.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks. Everything is going good now. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm getting feedback, and I don't think it's you, Honorable. Hold on. Let me see. I think Benny, but if he's gonna come on, I might just I'll send him a message.
Oh, I hear and see you. I don't.
Yes, I can hear you. Everyone can hear you. Okay. All right. So everything is down. So welcome tonight. And anyone on the screen, you can let me know if you're still hearing a feedback. Just to let us know. Oh, Miranda, Lips. Thank you. Tuning in. There's Loop. Yes. Where could that be coming from? Congressman, can you hear me?
There is a feedback loop, but I can hear you.
Yes, there's a feedback. And I don't know it's coming. But I'm gonna welcome you tonight. Did that? No, it didn't. I think can you check your maybe your mic or something? Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Sometimes two of anything open, give a feed. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna try to.
Okay. So say they're getting back, and our congressman is with us. Is he still feeding that? All right. He's fixing his microphone. I don't have to. Okay, there's no feedback now, and I don't have two of anything open, so I guess the congressman will fix something, and he will be back with us tonight. And as we go into this program, we're going to be talking to our congressman tonight about some of our issues that all of us are faced with, and we talk so much about. Okay, all right.
Is that better?
Okay. I am hearing it again, but I am sometimes I think just sent me a message. I think Pastor Gooding said maybe one of your devices, so I don't know what is open on your end.
Can you hear me or?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. It's just feedback, and we're trying to figure out where the feedback is coming from. If you can give the microphone, if two are open, but I know it's okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to know that while he works on it, there is two devices or something that is probably open, but we're going to work on it tonight because we got to talk to our congressman about it's on his own. Yes, I know that. Once he log off, okay, let's see if we can. Okay, you're not hearing it now, right? Yes, okay, that's a good idea. Maybe when I'm speaking, if he can mute himself, we will do that. So, Congressman, we will try that. I am good now, but I am going to see if while I'm speaking, he's muted and just to mute his microphone, not to come off the camera. But we're gonna just mute my mic when he's speaking, and when the congressman is speaking, I'll mute my microphone. Let's try that. Okay, you're back, and I'm speaking, and the congressman is muted, and the feedback is not happening. So thanks to all the text that is out there, Benny and everyone, it makes so much sense. So when the congressman is speaking, I will mute myself. Let me see if I understand this mute thing. You understand? So. Okay, so Congressman, I would allow you to speak and welcome to the show because we have to talk about some of the issues that we have going on here, whether it's with ICE, the Medicare, Medicaid, all these things that is happening. This administration seems to giving everyone an anxiety, I must say. So I would like to hear from you. Let's see where we're going to start. I would let you introduce yourself to the people, and then we can go ahead.
Well, thank you for just giving me the honor to appear on your show. I'm Congressman Ritchie Torres. I have the honor of representing the Bronx. I was born and raised in the Bronx. So the Bronx is not only where I represent, but it's where I live. It's where I grew up. It's my home. I'm a proud son of the Bronx. I grew up in public housing, raised by a single mother who had to raise three of us on minimum wage, which in the 1990s was $4.25. So I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to face housing insecurity and food insecurity, inequality and poverty. And I bring that lived experience to my role as a United States Congressman. And so I've been in Congress for about 5 years. I've represented the Northeast Bronx for the last 2 years. And Avril has been one of my greatest partners in building a better Bronx. So thank you for the honor of having me on your show.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for.
So thank you so much, Congressman, for accepting the honor of being here tonight. And it's an honor and a privilege to have you, because I know you're very busy out there, but you're taking your time just to answer a few questions. And one of the things that I was speaking to a young lady about that she wasn't aware of is how Medicare and Medicaid work. Because I was explaining to her that once Medicaid is affected, a lot of people feel, well, I'm not on Medicaid, so it don't affect me. But the hospitals are affected, and that's where we get our care. So I want you to explain to the viewers, how does it affect the hospital, our care, when Medicaid, not Medicare, is affected? So not because you're not on public assistance, you're not getting Medicaid, and you feel, well, that has nothing to do with me. Yes, it has a lot. When our hospitals are affected, our health care is affected. I'll give you the mic.
No, you make an excellent point. So the Republicans passed the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. We call it the Big Ugly Bill, which cuts Medicaid by $700 billion and cuts SNAP food assistance by $300 billion in order to fund $1 trillion worth of tax cuts for the top 1%, for billionaires and multimillionaires. And even if you're not on Medicaid, you're affected because your hospital's on Medicaid, right? Most hospitals receive most of their funding or much of their funding from Medicaid, right? And Montefiore, which is a healthcare provider, is the largest employer in the Bronx. And if it loses Medicaid funding, not only are people going to lose healthcare insurance, but people are going to lose their jobs. And there's no congressional district that depends more heavily on Medicaid than mine. 70% of my district is enrolled in Medicaid. Medicaid covers more than 70% of the children in my district, more than 80% of the nursing home residents, more than 90% of baby deliveries. And keep in mind that the majority of Medicaid funding actually goes toward the elderly and the disabled. Right? Medicaid is not only health insurance for the lowest income, but it's also long-term care for the elderly, the disabled, and the chronically ill. Nursing homes, assisted living facilities mostly receive their funding from Medicaid.
Okay, so for those who are listening, pay attention, because many of us, we neglect the fact that we are hardworking individuals. We've been working in the hospitals, and we assume that because we have our job and we have health insurance, that we are not affected. We are affected in every way. Most of us are complaining of the long wait to see a doctor, the cutbacks on nurses and the layoffs and everything that is happening. It's affecting us. So we have to stand up and fight with the others who are less fortunate than us. That is how we can make it work. We are joined here with our Congressman Ritchie Torres, who is breaking down some information with us tonight. Ritchie, I thank members of Congress, our elected officials like yourself, who is fighting for the people and coming out of where many of us don't understand. And we use the word poverty, but you know what it is to live in public housing. You know what it is to deal with poverty. So when you can relate, you can work for the people because you're coming out of it. And that's what we expect. And that's what you have been doing. And I've watched you all over the Bronx, giving out toys, giving out food, doing so much in the NITRO housing, the seniors, and you're taking care of the community. You're in Washington, you're in New York. I don't know how you do it, but I thank you for this time tonight. I also want to speak to you about the laws that works with us with ICE. What's going on here? Because I don't see who is standing up for the people here in the community as us as a people. If we realize that we are silent, we make noise on TikTok and all over the place, but we are not standing up together because we feel that, oh, it's a Democrat thing. But when ICE pull someone over, they do not ask you if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. They do not ask you if you're an American. They're looking at you as you look like, and you look like this, and you look like that. So I would like to hear your take and to find out what laws are they breaking, which law this falls under, because the way that I'm seeing this is that there is no penalty for the way our people are treated and abused with the ICE situation. So I would leave that over to you right now.
Yeah, no, Donald Trump is breaking the law. So first, he's deporting people without due process in immigration court. He's deporting people who committed no crime, who posed no public safety risk. And he's just expanding the mass deportation industrial complex. So earlier I spoke about the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Donald Trump has expanded the budget of ICE. So ICE now has a larger budget than the FBI, DEA, and ATF, which is the gun agency, combined. It's out of control. And he's deporting people without due process, deporting people who pose no public safety risk. He thinks he's a king and we're his subjects, and we have to show this is a democracy and we're willing to fight for it and we're willing to resist Donald Trump. But ICE is creating a reign of terror in immigrant communities like ours, and we have to fight back.
Okay, and in fighting back, how are we doing that? Because I know you're fighting for us. Our elected officials are fighting for us. And I feel that our people are afraid to fight back. Because if we protest, they might get arrested. And half of the immigrants that are out here are afraid to go out and stand up and speak out. So who is really fighting for those? And who am I to sit here tonight and say, speaking for the immigrants or those illegal immigrants as they're targeting? Because when they pull us over, the majority of time, they're pulling over Americans that was born right here in America.
So New York State and New York City we have laws in place that protect immigrants, right? That prohibits ICE from going into city facilities, prohibits ICE from going into state facilities, prohibits ICE from going into places of worship like churches. And there are laws that prohibit the NYPD from cooperating with ICE except in extreme cases like murder, rape, and so there are laws in place to protect. And I'm willing to partner with you to hold Know Your Rights sessions. People should be informed about their rights and how to best fight against ICE.
Okay, so as you mute, I will. Okay, yes. So the fighting back with ICE, when our people are thrown to the ground, thrown on the wall, locked up, when the police arrest anyone or abuse someone or put someone in a chokehold and do the things that are done from NYPD, we are quick to say, file a lawsuit. Why am I not hearing anything about lawsuit when it comes to the abuse of what ICE is doing?
There have been lawsuits to prevent more deportations, but to be honest with you, what we need is the Democratic Party to win back Congress. Like right now, Donald Trump controls every branch of government. He controls the presidency, much of the courts, House, Senate. We need the Democrats to win back the House so that we have the power to hold Donald Trump accountable for his abuses. Because once we win back the House, we'll have the authority to investigate him and ICE and all of those who are abusing their power. And I'm confident that we're going to win back the House in 2026. You saw the elections in New Jersey, in Virginia. Democrats had overwhelming victories. And so that's a sign of things to come. That's a sign that Democrats are in a strong position to win back the House. What we need is checks and balances. We need accountability against Donald Trump.
Okay, we're sounding good and we're looking good and we're standing tall when we see the winners announced. And that's what we need. But we need our people to also get active, going out and vote. Because many people give up on voting. Many people say, I don't vote because I don't like this and I don't like that. But that's where we give away our strength. And that's where we lose out in the end because we took Donald Trump for granted by saying we're not voting, he cannot win, he don't have a chance. And he proved that our vote matters. Okay? Carlos Daniel Sanchez, thank you, Congressman, for your fight. Thank you, Carlos, and everyone who is watching and commenting. If you don't comment, we don't know you're watching, but the Congressman is here to speak to us about some of the things that's happening. ICE is one of the biggest thing. And as someone texts me and asks, and I know you're not with NYPD, but why are they saying police when they're ICE? You know, and they're wearing all these masks. And if I see someone run up to me with a mask on, how am I being protected? How are they being protected? How do we know that they're ICE agent when someone with mask gonna run up on you, slam you against a wall, and don't identify themselves? How are we taking risks like this today with our people?
So we need legislation that requires ICE officers to be unmasked. Like, you should have a right to know who's arresting you, who's approaching you. And there should be a requirement that every ICE officer identify themselves, even in the form of producing an ID card, so that you know exactly the name of the officer or the name of the ICE official who's approaching you, who's questioning you. Like, you have a right to know the reason you're being stopped, the reason you're being deprived of your freedom to move.
Absolutely. And let me take this opportunity while we're here to tell you thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the assistance that you gave to the island of Jamaica. I would like to hear about that because sometimes when our elected officials speak about what they're doing, people think, oh, why they got to do that? If you don't speak about what you're doing, people don't know what you're doing. So I would like to hear more about that. I know it's teamwork. So I would just like to hear what was done for the island of Jamaica.
Yeah, so my office has been partnering closely with Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie, State Senator Jamal Bailey, Councilmember Kevin Riley, Borough President Vanessa Gibson, Congressman George Latimer. All of us have been collaborating to hold a massive relief drive for Jamaica, because we in the Northeast Bronx, we feel Jamaica is not only an ally of the United States, it's family, it's friends, and when family is in a state of crisis, you have to be there to support them. My team made a $5,000 contribution to buy emergency generators for those in Jamaica, and I'm joining Speaker Carl Heastie in an assembly delegation to Jamaica. So I'll be traveling to Jamaica in the days to come to support the recovery.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you hear it here. Our congressmen and our elected officials are going to Jamaica. Is there an extra seat on the plane that you could get me on there, Congressman? Because I'm willing to pave the ground. But I think the Assembly Speaker will say, leave her right here in New York. She's coming to give trouble. But so with the Medicaid now, where it's so many people, I feel our health care system is at stake. I feel there is so many things happening that I'm watching with the healthcare system. And as I tell folks, if it's happening here in America, it's happening in the islands and beyond. because anything that happened in America falls off there. Because healthcare is something that when we talk about Montefiore being one of the hospitals in the Bronx that deals with cancer, and we have so many cancer patients, people are coming down every day with cancer, but Donald Trump is cutting so many things in healthcare. How does not that doesn't affect the care of the people?
Oh, of course, it affects the care. And, with cancer, it's all about early detection. So, I partnered with Cornell University to bring a mobile van for lung cancer screening here in the Bronx. People might not realize this, but more people die from lung cancer than from breast cancer, colon cancer, and rectal cancer combined. Like lung cancer is the leading cause of death among cancers. It's more than 100,000 deaths a year. And it's all about early detection. If you detect it early, then you have a 70% chance of survival. But if you detect it too late, your chances of surviving can fall to 10%. And so we're focused on screening as many people as we can for all forms of cancer, but particularly lung cancer, which is one of the leading causes of death in America.
Wow, we are hearing it here. We are talking to our congressman. Thank you, Missionary Vernice Hodge. Thank you, everyone who is on, and feel free to share this live. Remember, our time has changed. So people in the islands, someone just texted me, they're confused because I said 9 p.m. But 9 p.m. for us is 8 p.m., is 10 p.m. for them. So when they're logging on at 8 p.m., it's their 9 p.m., and our 9 p.m. is their 10 p.m. So I guess the folks will see it later who don't get to see the show now, but feel free to share this information. We're talking healthcare. We're talking about the cuts in Medicare and Medicaid that is affecting our hospitals, and not just individual, because as I said, many people are thinking that they're not affected by the cuts in Medicaid because they feel, hey, I don't get Medicaid, so it don't affect them. It's affecting the hospital. So if it's affecting the hospital and the layoffs, it's affecting the care that we as a people get, whether you go in there with your high-tech insurance or I go in there with my Medicaid. I mean, Congressman, listen, my question to you, when is your next term for election? Because I want to make sure that we keep elected officials in there like you. And wow, and my cancer is terminal. Oh, Jesus. Richard Littlejohn, we are so sorry to hear that. I don't like to hear things like that. Thank you for commenting. Your cancer is terminal. We bind, we pray in Jesus' name, and we're going to keep you in prayer, because as we're talking about healthcare, here's someone saying, my cancer is terminal. Don't claim it, fight it, and believe that there is a God. So, Congressman, I'm asking you, we don't need to lose the great elected officials who is fighting, standing up, and is there for the people. We have you here. Now, when is your term? Because we just had an election for mayor, and now we are talking Congress now. So when is your term? When is the next election?
Well, first, I just want to say that I'm going to keep Richard in my prayers, and I'm just so sorry for everything you're going through. Members of Congress, House members run every 2 years, in even years. So I'll be up for re-election in June of 2026 in the primary, and then November of 2026 in the general election. So only a few months away.
Okay. 2026. We got to fight to keep you in office. We cannot let you start something and finish for someone to come and start over. Just like the Obamacare. What is going on that it's such a fight for the Obamacare? What can you say about that?
So Democrats passed the Obamacare back in 2010. And since then, Republicans have been waging war on Obamacare. The tax credits for the Affordable Care Act are set to expire by the end of the year. Now, Democrats, we're in favor of extending them, but the Republicans refuse to extend them. And if those tax credits expire, 24 million Americans are going to see their premiums more than double, rising by an average of 114%. 4 million Americans will lose access to health care. And when you combine it with the Medicaid cuts, it's a total of 14 million. And hospitals everywhere in America, including right here in the Bronx, could lose up to $30 billion in funding, could lose 300,000 jobs. And so we need to put as much pressure as we can on the Republicans to extend those tax credits to protect the Affordable Care Act.
Well, I'm going to say this. So far, if you go into the pharmacy, the drugstore, everyone is complaining they cannot pay for their insurance right now. It's already starting to affect the people, our community. Things that you didn't have to pay for, you're now paying for. Things that was free is not free anymore. What was $5 is $15. Imagine being on a fixed income.
Everything's too expensive. You know, I don't know if you remember the candidate Jimmy McMillan, but he had the famous line, "The rent is too damn high." But it's not only rent. Healthcare, the cost of healthcare is too damn high. The cost of utilities, the cost of Con Ed is too damn high. Everything is so expensive, and the number one issue in America is affordability, is the cost of living. And Donald Trump is failing on the issue that matters most to most Americans, which is affordability.
Okay, so first, what I'm hearing is that a lot of people, but we know we're going to have those people. They blame the Democrats for everything. Everything. Oh, it's the Democrats, but Donald Trump is the one in there making these decisions. So I don't really understand when people say blame the Democrats. No, I'm blaming the Democrats who do not vote, who do not care to vote to make a difference. And as you hear from our congressman tonight, we need to take the House back. We need to get it in order. And that is for us to come out and cast our vote. We focus when it's a big election, like, oh, it's the president. We don't focus on when it's the councilman, the congressman. We feel, okay, it's nothing major, but we need people like you. And what more can we do to tell the people your vote is important? Tell your neighbor to get out and vote. There is not one soul right now. There goes Richard say his cancer is terminal. Imagine some people tell me they cannot afford to pay for their insurance. They cannot afford to pay for their medication. People are taking loss and cuts just to take care of themselves. But if you're not getting the right treatment and the right care, how can you survive in this economy?
Look, everyone should turn out and vote. I've seen elections where candidates have won by a single vote. Right? I've seen those elections happen right here in the Bronx. And it matters who's in elected office. You want candidates who know the struggles of the Bronx, who are going to fight for a lower cost of living, who are going to fight for public safety, who are going to fight for affordability. You want people who are one of us and who are going to fight for us. And if we do not care enough about our neighborhood to turn out and vote, no one else will. You know, a wise person once said, if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're probably on the menu. And the Bronx should have a seat at the table. It should never be on the menu.
Okay, you hear it here from our congressman, the Honorable Ritchie Torres, who is fighting for the people and is for the people. I thank you so much. I know I'm not taking you too far back, but I just got a comment, and someone, that's the young lady from the Heffin Park shooting, and asking to meet with me. And she said, thank you for coming out when the congressman had the town hall. So thank you for having me at your table. Thank you.
Thank you. You're one of the best leaders in the Northeast Bronx and the Bronx. I'm just so fortunate to work with you, to know you, and just thank you. And I'm going to keep you in my prayers.
Thank you so much. And I mean, why young, you heard the congressman is going down to Jamaica. So make sure that our congressman, thank you, Cheryl DeWitt, who says good night to you also, congressman. And for those who are commenting online. We can see that for those who are just watching. This is not the Facebook live show that's going to show you up. Is you comment and you tell me you're watching, but the numbers will tell me later how many people watch. But feel free to watch and don't comment. But we thank you for tuning in and listening on YouTube also. And Congressman, is there, you talk about ICE before Cheryl DeWitt and everyone that came on. You talk about the raid and everything that's going on, the help that you're giving for Jamaica and going out. Thank you so much, Cheryl Queen. Things are very hard in the city, the hardest I've seen since moving here in 1999. I'm paying more even for health care. There was a young lady that is commenting on the chat, and Y Young says, Congressman, can you take me to Jamaica? And I think I should be begging to go to Jamaica because guess what? I'm not Jamaican, so I should be the one begging. You probably should be the one making sure that the congressman is taking care while he's there in Jamaica because you know you got that. So tell the people that the congressman or elected officials is coming down to do what they have to do, and they haven't forgot Jamaica. So we're here talking tonight about everything that the congressman have to say, and one of it that I'm saying here is that we need you back in office. We need you back in office. So we got to make sure the people know when it's election is to go out and vote and to make sure that we put the people who is here fighting for the people, not just of the Bronx, but for the people that need the support. So people pay attention. Healthcare we're losing a lot in healthcare. And a lot of people, as I keep saying, our focus is not worrying. I will ensure that he'll be taken care of. Thank you so much. Okay. But I know for a fact a lot of people do not pay attention to what's going on in healthcare because they feel that they're not on Medicaid. They're working and they have health insurance. But I am sitting on the advisory board at Montefiore, and I have to sometimes walk through that clinic and look around in the hospital and see what's going on. And it's very hard what I'm seeing because me, myself, I can be a patient tomorrow. Congressman can be a patient tomorrow. And we need to know that the care is there, the nurses are there, and they're not running themselves short because of everything that's going on. So people, we have to come together and do what's right. And that is to get the people that care in office. So stop sitting down and pointing finger and say, oh, the Democrats are not doing, unless you're paying attention to what the Democrats are doing out here. But as Congressman say, we need the House back. And is it a guarantee we're going to get the House back? We got to be positive about this and we got to fight.
When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win, and we're going to win in 2026. And we're going to make history. We're going to make Hakeem Jeffries the first Black speaker in the history of the United States.
Repeat the name.
Hakeem Jeffries.
You heard it. You heard it.
I should say future Speaker Jeffries. But it's a beautiful thing that the most powerful legislator in the world is going to be a Black man from New York City.
I'm loving this tonight. Well, tonight we're just here to recap on a few things that's going on with the ICE situation from New York to Minneapolis, all over the world. It's not just a New York thing. Missionary Vernie say amen to that, what you just said, Congressman. It's a big thing with ICE. It's nothing that we are supposed to take easy when we walk on the street, that ICE is not just targeting undocumented because they don't know who is undocumented. They're judging us by the color of our skin, the way we look. You look like this and you look like that. And we as a people have to care because each one, we have to care about each other. It's not an easy thing because they're not just coming and questioning you about showing an ID or whatever. They're slamming you, they're holding you. And when they finish, oh, you look like this person and you look like that person. But where do we go from here? And the question I asked, and someone just asked, what law does that falls under?
Look, we need more legal protection. As I said earlier, we need a law that requires the ICE agents to unmask themselves and to identify themselves. But we do have laws in the books that protect immigrants. Like the city and the state have laws that prohibit ICE from entering any city-owned facility or any state-owned facility. And the NYPD is prohibited from cooperating with ICE, except in the most extreme cases. Obviously, if someone's a murderer or a rapist, that's a different circumstance. But in most cases, the NYPD is prohibited from cooperating with ICE.
You heard it here, not from Avril. You're hearing it from our congressman. People pay attention to what's going on. Get out there and vote and help our congressman and every one of us to make Jeffrey. I always pronounce his name.
Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah.
All right.
He's from Brooklyn. We're from the Bronx. The Bronx-Brooklyn Alliance.
Congressman, tonight we're just having a little technical issue with the feedback, but we're making it work and it's happening. And I want to wish you and all the elected officials, the Assembly Speaker, and everyone who is going down to Jamaica to make an impact and make a change. And for the people of Jamaica here who is becoming citizens, I moved from Georgia to Florida and they cut off my Medicaid now. I have to pay. And now it's hard times. Imagine that. So you got to move back to New York. She said she moved from Georgia to Florida and they cut off my Medicaid. Now I have to pay. So I guess a lot of people have left New York and say, the rent is too damn high, but there's other things that is high in other states. And I think the rent control that we talk about, and I mean, where do we go with that? Because how can they change that?
I just want to make the New York City's become so unaffordable that in the last decade, New York lost 1/5 of its young black population, like 1/5. From 2010 to 2020, and that was because of the affordability crisis. In the early 20th century, Black Americans were leaving the South for the North in order to escape Jim Crow. And now in the 21st century, we're seeing the opposite. More Black Americans are leaving the North for the South in order to escape the affordability crisis, in order to escape the crushing cost of housing. So that's the number one issue that we have to address, to protect the working class population here in the Bronx and in New York City.
How do you think we are going to combat that? Because so many people talk about our new mayor when he spoke about the housing issues and all these things. People say, oh, that's impossible. How can we make a comeback? We are seeing buildings going up every day, all these high-rise buildings. There's so many apartments, but people still cannot get apartment. And we keep saying affordable, but how can you reverse if a landlord is already charging $3,000? How can you tell another landlord that they cannot charge $3,000? How can the law be reversed? Because I used to think this happened when they wanted to get homeless out of the shelters during the pandemic. So the sky rise in rent went up to get people out. And the other landlords, whether there was people out of the shelter, they say, well, if the government is giving landlords money to get people out of the shelter, I can raise my rent too. So everybody's suffering, and someone just asks, what is really the affordable care?
So the incoming mayor, Zoran Mamdani, has promised that he's going to freeze rents and prevent further rent increases for rent-regulated units, which is about 1 million units in New York City. And most of the apartments in the Bronx are rent-regulated, would benefit from the rent freeze. And then I'm in favor of expanding the housing voucher program, because to your point, most of the affordable housing that the city creates is unaffordable to people with lower incomes. The question that comes to mind is affordable for whom? And so the value of a voucher is that it ensures that you pay no more than 30% of your income toward your rent. I feel like expanding the voucher program as well as freezing the rent are the best strategies for keeping housing affordable.
And when you say freeze the rent, the word freeze mean whatever you're paying, it stays there. But what if it's too high already? There's no way to come down.
Yes, I mean, that's why we have to expand the housing voucher program, because the housing voucher program can actually lower your rent or ensures that you pay no more than 30% of your income. So the housing, I think, once we take back the majority in the House, we should be fighting to expand housing vouchers and treat housing not as a luxury, not as a privilege, but as a human right.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, Missionary Bernice, yes, we had that earlier, but we are working on it where the congressman mutes, so you're not hearing it when he's not speaking. And I think so many people, working people, are also suffering because it's not just for the less fortunate. The working class people are suffering with the high rent also because after taxes, they don't look at what you're bringing home. They look at what you're making. Some people might make 1,200, but they're bringing home 6. But when you try to get help, they're looking at the $1,200 that you're making, and you're bringing home 6. How can you pay $3,000 rent per month?
You're right. It's not only the poor who are suffering, it's the working class, it's the middle class, because the cost of housing, the cost of electricity, the cost of insurance, the cost of everything is just spiraling out of control. And so the number one issue in the Bronx, the number one issue in America is affordability. But I would be in favor of extending housing vouchers not only to the lowest income, but to working class families. No one should pay more than 30% of their income toward their rent. That should be a universal standard.
Thank you so much, Congressman. You heard it here. This is just a tip of the ice we're trying to break and to give a feedback on some of the questions and concerns that the people have out here. Healthcare, insurance, and as Richard says earlier, his cancer is terminal. When you hear things like that and healthcare is an issue, then where do we go? Most of our people are suffering, we're dying, and we're not getting the right care anymore. They're cutting costs there. And when we say cutting costs, I'm not just talking money. Even in doctors seeing you, doctors don't have time to see you anymore. They're cutting costs on us in everything. We're still virtual, which is okay. But when it's time to come in and get the care that you need, they're still rushing because they have so many patients, not much doctors. And how many of us are going to school to be a doctor today? That is the question. How many of us are going to school to be a doctors? But doctors are leaving the jobs every day.
There's a severe shortage of doctors, particularly primary care doctors and doctors of color. And we should be investing in more training. And one of the problems in America is that it restricts the number of graduate school, of medical school slots that go to doctors. And so that's a cap that we have to remove so that we allow more people to become primary care physicians, and we can reduce the waiting list that we see in our hospitals.
Pastor J. Goodin asks, what can be done about rising Con Edison rates?
Okay, for what, Con Ed is a state issue, but my view is that it should not be owned by a for-profit corporation. If Con Edison were owned not by a for-profit corporation, but by the government or by the public pension funds, that would lower the rates that we pay as residents of the Bronx. And Con Ed has been deeply unfair to the Bronx. So Con Ed charges the Bronx 200% more for gas delivery than National Grid charges the residents of Queens. Like, we pay more for gas delivery than we do for the gas itself, which is unacceptable.
Okay, so is there something that Congress can do? Is there anything that the people needs to do? How can we get involved? What can be done? And someone is asking, how can we really make healthcare free? I don't think, is that possible?
Look, I'm in favor of Medicare for all. I feel like everyone should have access to Medicaid and Medicare. Healthcare is not a privilege, it's a right. And the government should be investing so that everyone has access to healthcare. We're the only high-income country in the world that fails to provide every one of its citizens with access to healthcare, and that's unacceptable.
All right, thank you so much. We're not going to keep our congressman here all night, but in the future, if there's any question that you want to write on the chat, feel free. He can check in and later respond and see the concern that the people have. So feel free to write your comment on the chat, and he will check as the days go by. And if there is questions there and things that you need a congressman to know, or as he says, discussions that you need to hear about, feel free to post it there so he can get a feedback. And as he take off for Jamaica with the other elected officials, we the people, how can we support any action with Congressman Torres to address Con Edison prices? That question is coming from Cheryl DeWitt.
Look, we have to put pressure on Con Ed, and we've been successful. Like, Con Ed had originally proposed a rate increase that was as high as 13%, and now it's only going to be 3%. Again, that's 3% too high. But when we put pressure, we're able to prevent the much larger increases that Con Ed is trying to force upon us. So we have to organize, we have to petition, and I'll definitely reach out to anyone who's interested in becoming involved in our campaign against Con Ed.
Thank you so much. You heard that, Cheryl DeWitt, and that's why we said to please share the live for someone else who missed it, can listen and get the information. We have to get involved, and elected officials alone can't do the job while we sit back. Thank you so much, Pastor Gooden, for tuning in and asking your question, and also getting involved in the movement. And we have to do this. So, Congressman, whatever the needs are, please let us know. And as we said, share it. And if you're out there and there's question and concern and you want to get involved, just follow up with Congressman Ritchie Torres' office. He's always available. His staff is always available to answer questions and to be there even in his absence. So not because he's going to Jamaica, the work does not stop. The work continue. So continue to write in, get involved, and to be part of his movement, and to support him in every action and what he's doing. Congressman, we need you in office. We need you there when Jeffrey get in office. We need you there to be able to work with him, because when you have leaders that working together, that's when we get things done. We can't have half fighting and half is not. But when we are together and getting it done, that's when change comes. My insurance all of a sudden wants me to make a one-term payment. A one-term payment. See, I don't even know what that means, but I know we all are suffering. I need the contact for more questions in Bronx businesses too. So that is something different. And also pray for Richard. Thank you so much, everyone. We're starting January. Yes, that's when everything going up, I guess, Congressman. That's when everything going to change in January.
No, as far as winning back the House, we have to win.
No, like insurance.
Yes, it resets at the end of the year.
Okay. So you heard it here, and Janet starting January. So that's why the congressman say we need the House back. Do not listen to the people who are out there blaming the Democrats to make us change our minds from Democrats to become what they want us to become. We know what's happening, and we know we're not in the House The Democrats are not in the House. They don't own the House. And that is why we are suffering. We are under pressure. So good night, Hilma, all the way in the Virgin Islands, wherever you are tuning in. It works here for you. It works here for us, because whatever affecting us is affecting the Virgin Islands also. So we all in this together. Spread the word, share this information, share the live, and let the people know. It's coming from our congressman who is fighting here for the people, not just the people of the Bronx. Because, man, sometimes I say he's in Washington or he's in New York, you're all over. And to be fighting with Donald Trump, I know it's not an easy job. So my heart goes off to you. We continue to lift you up in prayer. And as you leave to fly out to Jamaica, we will continue to pray for you. When they say you have your feet on the ground,
I'll have my feet on the ground. And thank you for your prayers.
thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to be here. You have a great night, and we'll be talking. Thank you so much, Benny. All right. Folks, you heard it. And Pastor Gooden, thank you so much. But when the elected officials take time to come on here after a long, stressful day, it's not easy. I just have to say thank you. Thank you to them for taking the time to come and just answer some questions. So any comment that you have, feel free to write it on the link. And when he check, he will see and he will be able to know what the people needs are. So feel free to share this information. Thank you so much, Pastor Gooden. And maybe you need to come on here one night to pray for me. All right. So thank you. I'm not going to be here with you long either. We're all going through so much mourning. I don't know for the non-Kittitian and Nivisions. I don't know if you heard about the young lady that won the pageant show 2 nights ago, and yesterday her mother just died suddenly. Young people. So it's really shocking the island of St. Kitts and Nevis that a young, vibrant woman who was a chaperone for her daughter and many other of the queens died the next day after her daughter won the pageant show. We also had a queen from Jamaica who collapsed or fell on the stage. And it's just becoming something that when something hit one, it hit the other. Because we was first talking about the young lady who was running for the pageant show who fell. And I think she hit her head from Jamaica. Now we have a queen who won the pageant show 2 nights ago in St. Kitts. And then yesterday, the mother died. And the mother was her chaperone, and she is so many other queen chaperone. Beautiful young lady. I mean, I'll post a picture on my link in a minute, but my heart goes out to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis who are just mourning this loss and in shock and disbelief. And Pastor Gooding, continue to pray. We need to pray for each other because people are saying, she looks so good. How did this happen? And nobody can believe it. People, she died the next day. Sometimes you see some people this morning and by lunchtime, they collapse and died. People are dying every day. Stop take for granted the way people look. I may be here with my hair and my wig all fixed up, but doesn't mean I'm not feeling tired and exhausted. Sometimes we put on the best face and we put on the best for the community, but deep down inside, we're struggling. People are suffering with cancer. People are not getting the help that they need, the care that they need. And people in the islands, pay attention. We have great health care, great doctors in America. We have shortage, but we have to understand that if it's affecting us in America, don't take it for granted. That is not affecting you in the islands. Because so many people in the islands are running to America to seek health care. So why do we sit down and laugh at what's happening in America? 5 funerals this week. Tomorrow is not promised. It's not promised to us. And I am not lying. We say we're living for God. But how many of us, because we're living for God, is not saying, God, I'm not ready for my name to be called? Because I can say it boldly, Father, I'm not ready for my name to be called. And people say, oh, when it's called, it's called. You can't stop it. They say, pray and ask God for what you want. And I'm saying, God, I'm not ready. I may be ready for Him and I may be trying my best to serve Him. But am I ready to leave this earth? No. But God, if you call me here to do your work, give me at least 55 more years. I don't know how much that's going to make me. That sounds like a lot. But even if you give me 40 more, I'm good. But I'm not ready to leave. It's very hurtful. Every day we wake up, we hear somebody die. And the first thing we say, they didn't look sick. How did this happen? You understand? Curling tomorrow is not promised. And I want tomorrow to be promised to me because I feel like there's so much work God called me to do. And if He do, He will give me the time to do it. But I'm just praying to God that my work on earth is not done. Father, in the name of Jesus, for everyone under the sound of my voice that is listening, bring healing to our body, our family, our loved ones. As you take us to bed tonight, God, wake us up in great spirit tomorrow. Give us the strength not to just do the work that man called us to do, but humble us enough to do your work. Turn us around, God, for the goodness. We always sing the song, the goodness of God, but turn us around for the goodness in our heart to pour out towards mankind. We're struggling, we're suffering, Lord, and we need you more than ever. For that woman to sit down and cheer her daughter on, to win the crown for the Queen showing St. Kitts, I was so happy for her. And the next day, her mother just died suddenly. And everyone say, has to be a heart attack. But my God, I took a debt and I use it for my own self. I got to take heed from other people. When you're tired, rest. It's only so much we can do. We got to learn to be selfish. And I'm starting to learn to do that. Because sometimes you're going through it, but you say, well, I got to go to work. I got to pay the bills. I got to do this and I got to do that. People, put yourself first for once in your life and learn that the new word for 2026 for Avril is no. I have to learn to say no, especially to some people, because we're saying yes to the wrong people. And when it's time for someone to say yes to us, half of the time we can't find them. Look into your life and ask yourself, what do you have to change in your life to make your life better for 2026? Don't step into 2026 with the same attitude, same mentality, same talks, and same thinking. Learn to say no. Love on yourself more. And you would see longevity. Sometimes we run ourselves to the ground. And when we're dead, they only talk about us until they lay us in the ground. Then they walk on the ground and forget that we're below there. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray for each and every one of you that whatever we're going through is just a test. And one day, our testimony can help others. Because sometimes if you don't go through something, you do not understand what is a testimony. No matter what you're going through, keep sharing. Stop hiding sickness. Share your illness so that other people can benefit from what you're going through. You may save a life. And in doing so, you're also saving yours. Don't let sickness hide. Because funerals are not hidden. So if I cannot pray with you while you're alive, I can't pray for you when you're dead. Don't hide your sickness from me, because it's harder on me when you hit me with a sudden death than when you hit me with your sickness, because we can fight together and pray together. But when you're dead and gone, You cannot pray with me, and I can't pray with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for staying up with me and Congressman Ritchie Torres tonight. And any information that you have, put it on the chat that you need the congressman to know or to work with. Continue to pray for me, Pastor J. Gooden, and I continue to pray for you that God will give you the strength to support those family of the loved ones that you're laying to rest. It's not an easy job. Do not continue to fool yourself this Christmas, get too caught up into the Christmas. Get caught up with God. Get caught up with your family and loved ones. Spend time with them and forget about all this excitement of this holiday season. Let Christmas be every day. Whatever you want today, buy it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Buy it and use it and enjoy your life. Good night to each and every one, and thank you for making this show possible. God bless you.